Hey guys, so in today's video we're going to be building the motor for the Aristo. The Aristo still has a few engine and body stuff to be done to it, but I don't like my engine being apart while I'm away at school. So tonight Ali and I are going to be starting the head reassembly and putting it back together. Basically what I've done so far is taken the head off, every single valve and spring and retainer, as well as the old valve stem seals. So in tonight's video I'm going to be doing some new valve stem seals, and Allie's over here. She's being employed, well, that's a bright light. She's being employed to clean up the valves a little bit. So we got this grinder set up with a wire wheel, a 5-inch wire wheel. So we're going to be cleaning them off and then lapping them very lightly before putting them back in the head, just to make sure the compression is really good. So I'm going to be starting off with my valve stem seals. I'm upgrading these. I got these SuperTech valve stem seals, and there's 24 valves, so there's 12 exhaust and 12 intake. And if you have a 2JZ, a lot of people don't know this, but they are actually different. So I'm just going to go off of the E and I on the part numbers, but you can also use a caliper and check the height. Alright, so the next step, basically, so Allie's cleaned off the valves. A few more to do, but as they get cleaned off, I'm just going to wipe them off with a rag. And then, before I took them out, this is always important, to make sure you keep the valve with the spring, retainer, and everything, to make sure you put it back in the exact same hole. So for example, this is baggie number 12, and on my sheet of paper here, I did a little crude drawing of my engine, and so I know that 12 is the rearmost exhaust valve, and this is my heater core pipe, so I know that this valve goes right in here. So I already have all my valve stem seals in. I forgot to show you guys that, but here they are right here. They're all in there, I promise. You probably can't see that, but oh well. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing now is, because even though Allie ground down everything with the wire wheel, there's still on the inside of the head where the valve seats a little bit of a built up compound that can't come off with a rag. So what we have is a lapping tool, which if you haven't used one, basically it's just like a suction cup that you put on top of your valve just like this. And then there's like this compound which is very gritty. I should shake that first, but you just with your finger put a little bit on the relief portion, or like the angled portion of your valve, and then we're going to go ahead and put it into the cylinder like this, and then just like you're trying to start a fire, whip it back and forth, then move the tool so you don't create a groove, and just about 10 seconds worth of grinding, because you're not trying to make a new valve seat, and then she should be seated. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to every single cylinder. Alright, so here we are the next day. Allie is doing my job and finishing lapping the valves. I think she has 3 more to go. Then we're going to flip the head over and put all the springs and retainers back in. And while Allie's working on the head, I'm working on the block a little bit. So I use this gasket scraper here to remove all the gasket from the old head gasket, because there's lots of like the rubbery material on it still. But it looks pretty straight. And I took the head to the machine shop, by the way, and they said it looked pretty good, so it didn't need to be decked. So I just scraped off all the gasket maker, so hopefully it seals really well. And now what I'm doing basically is I'm using some seafoam here, as it's a really good solvent, but also not bad if you accidentally get some in your oil or in your fuel or anything. So I'm using a ratchet to move my crankshaft around and get 2 of the pistons up at the top. Then just to clean off the pistons, some people use a wire brush, but I don't want the residue flying into all the valleys and stuff. So I'm just pouring little puddles on top of my pistons, letting it sit for about 5 minutes, and then using a nail brush and a shop little rag here, just going to clean them off. I'm going to wipe down the cylinder walls too, and once the block and head are ready, we're going to go ahead and put my ARP studs in. I'll show you how we're going to do that. and then the new OEM head gasket, making sure it's the right way up. A lot of people put it on upside down, which is bad. And then hopefully today, the end of this video, we can have the head mounted on the block. Alright, so to finish cleaning the head, basically I have a really long air gun and a cloth, and so it's really important to make sure you have all the oil and debris and the gasket you just scraped off out of all the head stud holes. So I just like to put it inside the head stud hole, and just so I don't get dirt everywhere, just cover it with a cloth and blow, wipe it off, and that's a pretty good way to do it. Now you can see, oh, I got the water jacket, oops. Now you can see it's pretty clean though. Let me just wipe up the water. Then just do that to all 14 head studs. Because when we go and install the head studs, you want to make sure there's no debris in there that could cause it to have an inaccurate torque reading. Anyway, so I'm just going to do that to all 14 head studs. And then once the head's reassembled, we'll toss her on. Alright, so I just finished installing all of the springs, keepers, and little bucket shims. If you haven't seen our last video, go check it out. I gave a little how-to trick on getting these in. I did like the rest of the 24 in like less than probably 20 minutes. So anyway, we also put in the spark plugs, because now that all the valves are in, we're going to do a little homemade test here. It's not the really professional way to make sure your valves are seated, but I think it should work pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over the head here, and I have a water neck at the back, so I'm going to put it just like this to make sure it's nice and, well, as flat as it can be, how about. And now I'm going to take some water, since we have the spark plug and all the valves in. You want to come give a close-up, I'll show on camera. I'm going to just take a little bit of water, just because while the head's off it'd be easier to fix, obviously. I'm just going to pour a little bit of water in the cylinder. I don't expect a 100% seal, but as you can see, I don't see any bubbles forming from around the seal of the valve. So I would say that that cylinder is pretty good. As you can tell, I'm on a slight angle, but if all those are good, I doubt that those two ridges are bad. So I'm going to go ahead and pour water in all the cylinders now. Alright, so here you can see I filled up all the cylinders with water, and it's been a couple minutes now and no bubbles have arisen. The only thing that's happening is if you look down a little bit here, my water pipe is spitting out water because we spilled it into a water jacket, which is kind of funny. But anyway, it looks like all the valves are seated nicely, which gives me good confidence that when I start her up, we won't have any popping out the exhaust like I did last season, because these were really covered in carbon. So I'm just going to go ahead and dry up all the water now, and the next step is to put the head studs and attach the head to the block. Alright, so the next step that we've got both items ready is to put on my aarp bulletin stud kit for the 2JZ. So this comes with instructions, so if you're doing this, I'd probably just read the instructions. But a few key points if you didn't read the instructions are to make sure that all the holes, as I already mentioned, are perfectly clean, as you don't want the threads having something that could misread the torque reading. And then it includes some assembly lubricant. So what I'm going to start with is taking one stud at a time, and of course the bottom is the one without the hex head in the top. So you just take a little bit of lubricant and put her on the threads. It's kind of like toothpaste, you gotta start at the bottom, I guess. They recommend using the lubricant over motor oil because apparently the consistency or whatever is better for an accurate torque reading than just regular motor oil. So I'd say probably just put a healthy amount on like that. And then I have my proper size Allen key. And so these here aren't actually torqued to spec. These ones you just hand tighten them. And then I'm just going to snug up with an Allen key. Just like this. A little bit snug. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 14 of those in. Alright, so here's the head gasket. This is an OEM Toyota head gasket. I've read just to stick for Toyotas with Toyota head gaskets. People buy Kinetic and stuff, but the Toyota one's pretty much the same price. It's a little more expensive, but you know you're getting good quality. Now I've already cleaned off my block perfectly. As you can see, I've got all 14 of my studs in. I've lubricated the top threads as well. Maybe should have done that after putting the head gasket on, now that I think about it, but I'll make sure it's pretty clean. And when installing your head gasket, make sure you have the right way forward and the right way up and down, because as you can see, this side looks a lot different than that side. So I've got it figured out 100%. Now I'm just going to very carefully, because I already lubed up the head studs, unfortunately. I'm going to very carefully place on my head gasket, making sure not to bend it too bad. And now that it's past the head gasket, I don't want too much of that lube to be on it, or else I worry about it slipping or something. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe off and then finish putting it on. Alright, so I'm just moving the oil feed line out of the way because it is time to install the head. I've got my head gasket on, and this is really heavy, so I'm just going to get to work here. So it's going to be kind of hard to line it up, I think. I'll tell you something in 1 second. I'll tell you now while I'm doing this actually. You have to put the washers on the head before putting the head on the engine. Is that it? So now you just take all your nuts. These are a 12 point. To install them you need a deep socket, and you just, you know, thread them on. But yeah, that's essentially the head on the motor. Alright guys, so now it's time to actually torque down the bolts. I've got all of them all looped up and on the studs. I had to make a special tool because to install it you need a 12 point half-inch thin-walled socket, which I didn't have, so I had to take a grinder, as you can see, and grind down all the walls of it. Anyway, so I've got that's a 3/8 drive attached to an adapter to a half drive extension on my torque wrench. So now we're going to go ahead and do this sequence shown in the repair manual, starting like 1, 2, all the way to 14. We're going to do it in 3 steps, starting at 30 foot-pounds. So now that I just did all 30 foot-pounds, I just want to show you guys a quick trick I did to save time and make sure I did it right. As you can see, the numbers I labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So now I'm going to do 60 foot-pounds. So for the last torque cycle, I just did 30 foot-pounds, 60 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and do 90 foot-pounds, starting in the same sequence again. And then, alright, so you probably saw my reaction in the last clip because the torque wrench made a very bolt stripping sound, and I thought I had stripped the stud out of the head, which would devastate me because I don't have time for that. But anyway, looking up closely here, my custom thin-walled socket here broke right along here. So every time I go to torque it, it like opens up and skips. So we're gonna have to go to the store and get a proper socket. But it's good news actually, because my motor isn't broken. So I'll finish up this video when we get back from the store. So here we are back from the store. I got this DeWalt half-inch 12.3/8 drive deep socket, and it's not actually a thin-walled, but it does work. I just want to give you guys an example of just how tight it is. So there's the head studs in like those holes there. It does fit on, but anyway, there is how tight it is. It barely even moves back and forth. So there's the studs all torqued down to 90 foot-pounds. I did around 85 because the aarp recommended 80, and I read online everyone kind of does 90. Anyway, there's it all torqued down to 90 foot-pounds. Now in the reverse order, so starting at number 14 that you can see there, then doing 13, 12, 11, etc., etc. I'm going to crank them all loose again, and then repeat the process 2 more times. So you do it 3 times total. I'm going to end it with the 90 foot-pounds. Also, when torquing down, don't just like rip it till you hit the number and then just kind of bounce it off of it. You like to go nice and slow, steady till you hear the click. Electronic is better if you have it, but if you're like me, you probably don't. Alright, so there's every 14 stud torqued down in 3 steps to 90 foot-pounds. I did around 85 just to cut the difference between the 2 manuals. Looks like it's all on there pretty good. I'm out of breath because trying to hold it at 90 foot-pounds 14 times is kind of tough. Anyway, so there's the head on the 2JZ. In between this video and the next video, I'm going to be doing camshafts, valve covers. I'm going to do a how to polish your valve cover video. I'm going to put together the whole front half of the motor, then do intake and exhaust. I might make a few videos on the intake and the exhaust because I have some upgraded parts for those. But yeah, that's going to be the end of today's video. Sorry it took a little long, but hopefully you guys learned a few things if nothing else. So please subscribe to see the rest of the video, and like this video if you enjoyed it. And as always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.